because you can keep the same coach and get a lot out of them if you know what you're doing.
No, that's absolutely correct.
Wow.
And we want to maximize some of these coaching vacancies, and I'm totally surprised that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have made room on Lovie Smith. To me, this completely screams, hey, look, we already have a coach in mind, and we've already begun talking to him, and we just need to make sure that this seat is vacant before already making it official to bring in this other coach. Is that the way it reads to a former general manager as well?
Well, no, because Lovie Smith was out of a job when he lost his coaching job. And there was a lot of pressure put in through the NFL to not get rid of our black coaches because they didn't feel they had enough main, head coaches that were black. And he's really well liked by players, very well liked. That doesn't mean he's a great coach. That means he's respected by his players, and they will play for him. But I think that move from Tampa Bay was really under pressure of hiring him because they didn't want to leave him hanging out there.
Okay, all right. Matt?
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I had some other questions that I kind of wanted to broach. You have anything to go for right now, Nash?
Not with the Lovie Smith, as I'm still trying to find out some of the intricacies of it. One of the things from the text line is, should we be hating on Cleveland for Paul DePost? I can't say the last name. They've tried so many NFL guys. Basically, why not think outside the box in Cleveland? What is the way to fix the Cleveland issue? It seems like a revolving door there.
Well, you don't have a really strong management. You don't have a strong general manager. You don't have a strong owner who's just coming into the business and trying to figure it out, trying to make his fans happy, but he can't seem to do it. And again, it goes back to what is your essence of what you know about the business you're in? And most of the answers are nothing. And that's part of the problem. That's why some of these teams look miserable, because they don't really have enough understanding. And Chip Kelly was a perfect example. Jeff Lurie didn't know what he was all about. He was razzle-dazzle college, but that's it. And he didn't even understand what his formation was. He had no idea what his offensive scheme was. And if you know it, you'd say, I don't think this is going to work, and not in the NFL. But he didn't know that, and he didn't have real good football knowledge, and he didn't have good people behind him that had great football knowledge. So, and I think that's really pretty much across the board now. I don't see really outstanding teams with good management and good owners who really understand the game.
What do you think about the fact that Doug
It's different.
Peterson
It's not as competitive today.
No, I think I see exactly what you're saying. And one of the things that gets me is it almost seems like a bit of a fraternity where, like Doug Peterson, who went with Andy Reid off to Kansas City as an offensive coordinator, is now being considered for the head coaching job of the Philadelphia Eagles. To me, this seems like taking one more step back. Why do the West Coast offense yet again? What do you think?
I actually read some stuff that said Andy Reid was pushing Doug Peterson towards Lurie. Is that something? I mean, do they still have a good enough relationship that would even be possible?
They didn't leave on good terms. They did not leave on good terms at all. And I think that was not the case. And it would be, and again, if Jeff Lurie isn't smart enough to put people around him that really know what they're doing, they would keep the current coach, Pat Shurmur, because he's a winner. He's well liked by his players. He was with the Eagles for maybe 12 years, off and on, in a bunch of different positions. He was a great quarterbacks coach. He coached Sam Bradford to success at the St. Louis Rams. He also took Nick Foles under his wing and made him a really good quarterback. And so it doesn't seem to make any sense that they need to trade for him anybody right now. Because what most of the owners who really understand this is a business, it's not just a sport. And as a business, when you bring in a new coach, they want nobody else on their team that are assistant coaches. They probably won't like the players you've already got. They want to trade them out, just like Chip did. It's a bad move, and it costs the owner a fortune to do that because they've got the long contracts, and then they got to get rid of all the coaches if they don't like them. And that's why it just seems like it's such poor business management, because Pat Shurmur is a solid guy, and he's been around a long time. He's coached all kinds of positions, and he's a very level-headed individual. And his uncle was a famous coach in the NFL as well, Fritz. So if I was there, I would say keep Pat. Absolutely keep him. And if you're going to keep Bradford, well, now you've got a coach that was really good with him.
No, that makes a lot of sense to me. The history, as well as not only the history with the current personnel quarterback, but also with the Eagles organization.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, it's so disruptive. For players to get used to you. Go ahead, Marn.
Oh, well, I was just saying, it's so disruptive in anything to, like, you know, to bring people, you know, to have a whole new entourage and then start over again. It's just like the starting and the stopping with anything, with any business, and in particular a people business like football is. You know, it's very hard language to learn, and so when you have all this new transition every couple years, I mean, that's really what's happening in Cleveland. It's like almost like, you know what, just keep something there for a while and just let it kind of grow. And that the transition is what actually I think is more difficult to start and stop with anything, to let the culture kind of grow together. I think that usually works. Obviously, Cleveland is they don't know what they're doing over there, but hopefully they'll figure it out, because when teams are playing well, it makes everything much better. Sundays are better. When every team is competitive, it just makes things more fun.
One place that's had a lot of congruency over the years is the New York Giants, and a name that both of you are very familiar with, Tom Coughlin. Is this the end of the road for him, or does he have a rabbit under his hat? Does he find another job somewhere else?
I don't see him as a head coach anymore because of his age and because
okay.
You know, that was kind of, I mean, he was definitely a guy. But, you know, what's interesting is that Dick Vermeil also was that guy too. However, they, as hard as they were, I mean, and I obviously was not in any of those meetings. I was, 9 years old at the time. But that being said, I have a mother who I think exhibits and displays a lot of that kind of discipline and character building culture. Again, it's just about that culture, but it's also incredibly loving and empathetic and kind and considerate. And that was how my grandfather managed the team, and my mom certainly, followed suit. And the coaches were like that. And so I think the players wanted.
I'm sorry, ladies. I think we're having a bit of a technical issue here. Ladies, I'm sorry. We're having a bit of a technical issue. It's some sort of like lag is created, which has basically caused both of you guys to like come over each other with the dialogue. It kind of created like a weird effect for a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and take a short moment and go to break, so that way hopefully this can catch itself up. If you both would just call right back. I think that the internet, we broke the internet with all the people are listening right now. You know what I mean? So
well, that's a good thing.
Okay.
We're just gonna go for a short break. And after that, we'll just go ahead and bring these ladies back in.
Finally, can we take a moment and stop listening to these idiots long enough to get the Cars for Kids jungle stuck in my head? Finally, can we take a moment and stop listening to these idiots long enough to get the Cars for Kids jungle stuck in my head?
Hey.
Hello. Hold on a second. I'm going to bring these ladies back in.
Are you looking for the web's best sports news? Visit jockjournal.com. Sports media has lost its touch. It seems that journalists are scared to report what they see in fear of losing access
Thank you,
to
Marnie.
the teams
Sorry
they
about
cover.
that.
At jockjournal.com, you get
Thank you,
inside
Susan.
information
Yes, I
on
don't
the
know what
entire
happened.
NFL
Whatever
community
happened,
without
we
all the
broke the
politics
internet
or
for a few
fears
moments, but I
other
think we're
writers
gonna be
have.
back on in
That's
just about 15
jockjournal.com.
seconds, so
When
sorry
you need
about
the
that,
NFL
ladies.
sports news, information, opinions, fantasy football, or discussions, there is only one place to go, and it's jockjournal.com.
Amen to that.
Okay, we're back. I had to surf porn and post my pics on an adult website.
Of all the coaching vacancies, we've talked about a couple different ones here. What do you think about the 49ers and what happened with Harbaugh leaving the front office? Is that someplace that a coach wants to go? I mean, how are coaches feeling? That's something we don't really get to see. We look at players. But with what happened in the front office there, is that somewhere that a coach you think could go and be successful?
The 49ers are ruthless. That's all I can tell you. The ownership is ruthless. They want to run everything, and they do it under a microscope. And one of the reasons that Jim Harbaugh did not stay is because they didn't like his personality. And even though he won games, and even though he was a Super Bowl candidate, they did not like the way he treated the other individuals, and they just got rid of him. It didn't matter that he was a good coach.
Kind of the whole Jimmy Jones, Jerry Jones type thing.
Yeah, well, I think it's a lot like that. I mean, it's the Bartolos that own it, but a lot of the management is very, undercover, that nobody really knows exactly what's happening in that organization. And I think that when you want to be a head coach, you just take the job. That's what you do. You just take it, even though you think you won't be there long. And that's what really happened. And I don't even know what's going to happen with the entire team because it looks like everybody's imploded there.
Yeah.
Hey,
you're
I
absolutely
wonder
right.
if they're going to trade Kaepernick. I don't know.
Where would you put Kaepernick?
What team would I put him on today?
Yeah. If you're Kaepernick's agent, where would you be calling?
I'd be calling all over to get him a job. Are you kidding? But I think that if I was looking for a position, I mean, he doesn't. The problem with him is that he doesn't have football smarts yet. He's not able to stand out there and see what's going on the opposite side. And a lot of quarterbacks never get that feeling of knowing what's happening. And he needs to learn a lot more. He needs to watch a lot of film, and he really needs to learn a lot more. It's not easy because each formation's different with every team. It's complicated. When you get a playbook in the NFL, the book is 400 pages.
Wow.
So, if you can't read, you really got a problem.
with all
they're very tedious, and they're extremely complicated.
There is, and with all the coaching changing places and stuff like that, it's got to leave a lot of these players completely confuddled, trying to learn one playbook, then learning another playbook shortly thereafter, and then know this like they know it. And I use this term like when I was back in air traffic control. You can know it, but if you're going to control traffic well, you have to know it. And these quarterbacks really have to understand every intricacy, as well as many of the other players, wide receivers, offensive linemen especially. How does a coach come in on his first year? Does he put in a lot of things in place, or does he let that gradually build? And if that's the case, how long do you give a coach to fully implement a system and build a team before you decide this might not be working?
Well, and that's why when you select a new coach, you want to say, is there any synergism with what we already have? Is there an ability for them to work within that system?